The world watched in shock as the early morning skies over Eastern Europe lit up with fire and destruction. The event that unfolded became known as one of the most stunning moments in modern warfare, Ukraine's decisive strike that crushed the North Korean Vanguard, a force Moscow had secretly relied upon as an experimental front-line ally. This operation was not only a military triumph, but also a testament to Ukraine's growing technological power, intelligence precision, and battlefield strategy. The Dawn disaster sent shockwaves through Moscow, forcing them to confront the consequences of their alliance and the devastating results of their misplaced confidence. This was not just a battle. It was a statement, a declaration that Ukraine had evolved beyond expectation, capable of dismantling even the most well-equipped units aligned with its enemies. From the outside, the conflict's theater painted an extraordinary picture. The North Korean Vanguard, deployed under Russia's coordination, had established heavily fortified positions along a narrow valley near the front. The exterior of their defenses was an intimidating display of industrial-scale war engineering trenches lined with reinforced steel, camouflaged artillery batteries, and radar-guided missile systems imported from Pyongyang's most secretive arsenals. The terrain itself was chosen for its natural defense, dense forests, high ridges, and river crossings that made traditional attacks nearly impossible. But what looked impenetrable to the naked eye became a target-rich environment for Ukraine's precision weapons. Drones equipped with real-time AI-assisted target mapping identified every radar dome, tank shelter, and command bunker. Within seconds of the strike's initiation, the exterior defenses that had taken months to construct were obliterated in a series of coordinated explosions that echoed across the valley. The walls of the so-called Vanguard fortress collapsed under a wave of precision-guided artillery fire, leaving behind nothing but smoldering steel and silence. Inside the remains of the North Korean encampments, chaos reigned. The interior revealed the scale of the operation and the futility of Moscow's gamble. Ukrainian special reconnaissance units entered to find communication centers burned out. Armored vehicles melted into twisted metal, and rows of weapons abandoned mid-use. The air was heavy with the residue of explosives, and the shattered remains of one. Advanced radar systems lay strewn across the ground. Despite its reputation, the North Korean Vanguard's command system was outdated, built for brute force, not electronic warfare. The interior of their bunkers showed rushed construction and poor logistics, proof that Moscow had prioritized speed over sustainability. In the end, the defensive nerve center that was supposed to direct waves of counterattacks was reduced to an empty shell within minutes. The performance of Ukraine's military throughout this mission marked a defining moment in its transformation from a nation under siege to a formidable modern power. Every component of the operation displayed precision and synergy. The first phase involved decoy drones to confuse enemy radar, followed by electronic jamming to disrupt North Korean communication channels. As the Vanguard scrambled to respond, Ukrainian HIMARS units unleashed a calculated storm of long-range rockets, striking every vital supply depot. Simultaneously, air defense suppression jets cleared the skies of any threat, allowing larger drones to circle and deliver devastating payloads. The synchronization of artillery, air support, and ground reconnaissance created a choreography of destruction that was both efficient and ruthless. It was not the number of weapons that defined Ukraine's success, but their performance, each missile, each drone strike hitting exactly where it was needed. Safety measures were at the heart of Ukraine's tactical brilliance. While operating in a high-risk zone, Ukrainian command centers maintained constant communication with all field units through encrypted digital channels. Soldiers were equipped with advanced armor capable of withstanding heavy shrapnel, while medevac drones stood by to airlift any casualties within minutes. Artificial intelligence systems continuously scanned for enemy artillery positions and predicted their firing trajectories, allowing Ukrainian units to reposition before the shells even landed. Civilian safety was also prioritized. Evacuation corridors were pre-established, and no strikes were executed without satellite confirmation that non-combatants were clear of the area. Even under intense pressure, discipline prevailed, a defining mark of a professional and evolving army. What made this operation uniquely powerful was not only its outcome but its strategic innovation. Ukraine's forces demonstrated an unmatched ability to merge traditional warfare with modern digital combat. Unlike Moscow's reliance on brute force and quantity, Ukraine's advantage lay in agility, intelligence, and adaptability. The use of swarm drones that communicated autonomously on the battlefield allowed real-time response to shifting conditions. Cyber teams based miles away coordinated electronic strikes that disabled enemy logistics systems. The North Korean Vanguard, known for its discipline and sheer manpower, was rendered blind and immobile in less than an hour. This fusion of human strategy and technological intelligence has become Ukraine's unique selling point, a new blueprint for warfare in the 21st century. Another key feature that set this operation apart was the level of international cooperation behind the scenes. Western allies provided satellite imagery and high-resolution mapping, while European defense industries supplied state-of-the-art targeting systems. The United States' advanced surveillance network gave Ukraine the ability to monitor enemy troop movements in real time. Yet despite this global support, it was Ukraine's own command structure that turned information into victory. The blend of global technology and local ingenuity made the assault unstoppable. The North Korean units, built on outdated doctrines and rigid command hierarchies, couldn't match the flexibility of Ukraine's decentralized, adaptive strategy. When analyzing the price of this mission, it's clear that the returns far exceeded the cost. The operation's financial footprint was estimated at less than a fraction of the damage inflicted. Military analysts calculate that the total cost of Ukraine's munitions and drone deployment was under $80 million, while the loss to Moscow and its North Korean partners exceeded several $billion in equipment, manpower, and strategic positioning. Entire armored columns, radar stations, and ammunition depots were vaporized in a single night. The symbolic price, however, was even higher for Moscow, the public humiliation of watching an allied force crumble before the world's cameras. The event not only weakened Russian morale, but also sowed distrust between Moscow and Pyongyang, shaking their alliance to its core. In broader terms, the battle served as a strategic turning point in the ongoing conflict. It proved that Ukraine had transcended defensive warfare and stepped into the realm of offensive superiority. This mission showcased not just power, but purpose, a determination to reclaim territory and redefine geopolitical balance. The destruction of the North Korean Vanguard removed a critical element of Moscow's proxy strategy. For months, Russia had relied on allied units to reinforce its thinning front lines, believing external support would compensate for its losses. But this operation shattered that illusion. With one decisive strike, Ukraine exposed the vulnerabilities of its enemies and reasserted its dominance across multiple theaters of war. On the humanitarian and psychological front, the victory restored national pride. Civilians across Ukraine watched the reports unfold with renewed confidence. The successful execution demonstrated that even against the combined influence of Moscow and Pyongyang, Ukraine's spirit and technology could prevail. Soldiers who once fought only to survive were now fighting to win with precision, professionalism, and pride. The morale boost reverberated through every battalion, encouraging recruitment, innovation, and unity. The operation's success also reinforced Ukraine's standing among global powers, proving it as a capable and reliable military partner. The tactical aftermath revealed more than just wreckage. Analysts examining satellite images noted that not only was the North Korean Vanguard destroyed, but the supply chain supporting them had also collapsed. Fuel depots, communication nodes, and transportation convoys that once linked Russian command centers to the Vanguard's base were wiped off the map. This created a cascading effect across the front, forcing Russian forces to retreat and reorganize. The speed of Ukraine's execution left them no time to respond, no chance to regroup. The Dawn disaster effectively paralyzed Moscow's regional strategy, forcing their commanders to divert attention and resources to fill the void left by the loss of their key ally. The performance of Ukraine's weapon systems was a marvel of engineering. Precision-guided munitions struck within meters of intended targets, while loitering drones maintained visual control for hours. Electronic jammers disrupted enemy radar so effectively that even the most advanced North Korean air defense systems failed to lock onto a single Ukrainian drone. Ground troops advanced under full air cover, moving seamlessly through terrain once considered impenetrable. The level of accuracy displayed by the newly integrated missile platforms demonstrated the culmination of years of Western support and local development. Ukraine's performance in this mission was the embodiment of efficiency, minimum exposure, maximum impact. Looking deeper, the psychological warfare aspect cannot be ignored. The suddenness and completeness of the North Korean Vanguard's defeat sent waves of panic through Allied units. Propaganda once designed to boost morale collapsed overnight. Soldiers began questioning Moscow's leadership, and intercepted communications revealed disarray and infighting among commanders. The impact on enemy psychology was as devastating as the physical damage. Ukraine's precise and merciless execution left no doubt about its growing dominance. It wasn't just a battle, it was a message written in fire that the era of underestimating Ukraine was over. In terms of unique value, this mission will likely become a military case study for years to come. Defense academies will examine how Ukraine transformed limited resources into overwhelming strategic advantage. The operation demonstrated how modern warfare depends more on intelligence, integration, and digital dominance than sheer numbers. The combination of unmanned technology, flexible command, and rapid adaptation allowed Ukraine to rewrite the rules of conflict. By turning enemy strength into weakness, it revealed that even well-funded, heavily armed forces can crumble under the weight of innovation. In conclusion, the annihilation of the North Korean Vanguard was far more than a battlefield victory. It was a defining moment in modern military history. Ukraine's execution of this mission symbolized the triumph of strategy over force, intelligence over intimidation, and innovation over tradition. The Dawn disaster not only decimated Moscow's trust in its allies but also exposed the fragility of outdated doctrines in the face of next-generation warfare. Every strike, every maneuver, every calculated move reflected a nation no longer reacting to war but commanding it. The operation's success solidified Ukraine's reputation as a rising military power, capable of defending its sovereignty and reshaping the dynamics of global conflict. As the smoke cleared and the sun rose over the shattered valley, one truth remained unshakable: the era of experimentation at Ukraine's expense was over. What began as an attempt by Moscow to strengthen its position had ended in catastrophe, with its allies might reduced to ruins. The North Korean Vanguard's defeat was not just a tactical loss, it was a symbol of what happens when outdated power meets modern precision. Ukraine's victory was not measured in territory alone, but in transformation, a shift from survival to supremacy, from resistance to dominance. And in that dawn, amid the silence of a destroyed fortress, the world witnessed a new chapter in warfare being written, one where intelligence, unity, and resilience reigned supreme.